of learning Xcode. Yeah, let's jump right into it actually. Alright, so let's write a quick note of the date. Start of part 2. Start connecting. Connect the UI to the code. Alright. In this lesson, you'll connect the basic UI of the food tracker app to code and define some actions. Learning objectives. Explain the relationship between the scene and storyboard and the view controller. Outlet, process user input, make a class conform to a protocol, delegation pattern, and follow the target action pattern. I have no idea what all of this means, but I guess we'll figure it out. So elements in the storyboard are linked to source code. It's important to understand the relationship. In the storyboard, a scene represents one screen of content and typically one view controller. View controllers implement your app's behavior. View controllers implement your app's behavior. View controllers implement your app's behavior. So, what do view controllers do? What do view controllers do? Implement your app's behavior. Alright. A view controller manages a single content view with its hierarchy of subviews. View controllers coordinate the flow of information between the app's data model and the views that display the data, manage the lifecycle, handle orientation changes, define the navigation, and implement how the behavior responds to user input. All view controller objects are of type UI view controller. Alright. So we have like view controllers and we have views. Alright. You define the behavior of the view controllers by creating and custom view controller subclasses. You can then create a connection between those classes to get the desired behavior. Can I zoom in? One tad? Nice. Xcode already created, so view controller, alright. In the future, as you add more scenes, you'll make this connection yourself. In the identity expector, so the identity inspector lets you edit properties of the objects. Okay, identity inspector. At runtime, your storyboard creates an instance of view controller. The scene appears and the interface behavior is defined in view controller. Although the scene is connected to viewcontroller.swift, that is not the only connection that needs to be made. To define interaction with your application, your view controller source code needs to be able to communicate with the views in your storyboard. Your view controller source code needs to communicate with the views in your storyboard. You do this by defining additional connections called outlets and actions between the views in the storyboard and the view controller source code files. Okay, this one a bit over my head, to be honest, so I'll have to redo this or recheck it out. Okay, so outlets provide a way to reference instance interface objects from source code files. So, from source code files. Okay, so what does an outlet do? Reference from the source code the objects you added to the storyboard. To create an outlet, control drag from a particular object in your storyboard to a view controller file. So if we go to the project, do we have a view controller file? Yes. So we control drag. All right. Let's see. This operation creates a property for the object, which lets you access and manipulate them at runtime. You will need to create outlets for the text field and the label. Okay, to connect the text field to the viewController.swift, open your storyboard. So open the story. Let's first read through all the instructions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So open main storyboard. It's open. Click the assistant editor. Collapse the project navigator. Yes, yes, yes. You can also collapse the outline view. All right, so let's collapse the outline view. Here. Go to the assistant navigator. Assistant editor. Then we can collapse this one. I think we can collapse this one. And we can collapse the utilities as well, the debugger as well. And then in the editor, go to automatic and viewController.swift. So we go to viewController, automatic viewController.swift. Find the class line, viewController UI viewController, and then add the following: mark properties. All right, so mark properties. You added a comment. A mark is a special kind to organize your code, navigate through it. Okay. In your storyboard. Okay, now control drag it. Control drag, stopping the drag below that. In the dialog, name text field, click connect. Alright, so select the text field, click, control drag, oh shit, boom, name text field, if I recall correctly, and then connect. Oh boy. The Xcode adds the necessary code to viewController.swift to store a reference to the text file and configures the storyboard assembly connection. IB outlet weak var name text field UI text field exclamation mark. Take a minute to understand what's happening. Okay. We definitely should. So, what are we gonna? So here we are going to make outlets. So we are going to make outlets. So we have view controllers. So like, we're talking about view controllers. It's like, and view controllers, and then we're gonna make like outlets. Made outlet for text field. All right. Okay, IB outlet, weak var. All right, the IB outlet tells the attribute that you can connect to from the interface builder. The weak, it does not prevent the system from deallocating. Weak references help reference cycles to prevent them. However, To keep the object alive and in memory, you need to make sure some other part of your app has a strong reference. In this case, it's a text fields superview. A superview maintains its strong reference to all the subviews. As long as the superview remains alive and in memory, all the subviews remain alive as well. Similarly, the view controller has a strong reference to its content view, keeping the entire view hierarchy alive in memory. The rest of the declaration defines an implicitly unwrapped optional variable type of UI text field named name text field. Pay careful attention to the exclamation. This exclamation point, it's an implicitly unwrapped optional. When you access it, when a view controller is loaded from a storyboard, the system instantiates the view hierarchy and assigns the appropriate values. By the time the view controller's view.load is called, has assigned values, and you can safely access the content. Holy shit. Alright, I have to like, oh, oops. What is the, alright. Connect the label to the view controller. Alright, now we're going to connect the label. So connected the label. To, can we just talk? In your storyboard, select the label, meal, name, label, click connect. Alright, so let's do it again. Meal. Alright. Xcode adds the necessary code to view controller.swift to store a reference. The outlet is similar to the text field. You only need an outlet to an interface object if you plan. You only need an outlet to an interface if you plan to access value from the interface object or modify the interface object in your code. In this case, you need to set the text field's delegate property and set the label's text property. You won't be modifying the button, so there's no reason to create an outlet for it. So when does it make sense to access? So when do you want to create an outlet? If you want to access value or modify interface object in code. You still need to respond. So outlets let you refer, but you still need a way to respond. Okay, well, outlets let you, but you still need respond when users. This is done with actions. iOS apps are event driven. The flow of the app is driven by events, system events, and user actions. The user performs actions in the interface that trigger events in the app, and these results in execution of app logic management of data. The app's response to the user action is then reflected back in the user base. Because the user, rather than the developer, is in control of certain pieces, you want to identify exactly when, which and when. An action is a piece of code that's linked to an event that can occur in your app. When that event takes place, the systems execute the action's code. You can define an action method to accomplish anything from manipulating a piece of data or updating the user interface. You use actions to drive the flow of your app in response to user or system events. Okay. You create an action the same way you create an outlet. control drag from a particular object in your storyboard to a view controller file. Alright, start by creating a simple action that sets the label to default text whenever the user taps the set default button. The code to set the label in the text is a bit more involved, so you write it in process user input. Alright. In viewController.swift, just above the last curly brace, add the following, mark actions. So here. And then storyboard default and control drag and stop dragging the line below the comment. Set action, set default label text, UI button. Alright, so we go control drag and then set default label text. Set default label text. UI button. For type, set UI button. Connection is an action. The value type is UI specifying. Only button objects can connect to this action. It's important to remember for later. Okay, click connect. Alright, let's click connect. Connect. IB action, interface builder, set default label text and the UI button. Okay, the sender parameter refers to the object that was responsible for triggering a button. The IB attribute indicates that the method is in action, and you can connect from him to the interface builder. The rest is a method name. Okay. Right now the method declaration is empty. The code to reset the value is quite simple. Okay, so we are going to, in the method implementation, add this line of code. So meal label name.text is the full text. Oh. So meal default text. So what did we do? We connected button action from storyboard to view controller. Checkpoint. Let's try it out. Default text. Meal name label. Let's save it. Let's build it. Can we just talk? Can we just talk? Alright, where you at? It's still upside down. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Yada yada yada. In a bit of a fight with my mic right now. Well, it sure is taking long. There we are. Awesome. Alright, let's see. If I click here. Click, 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 click. Click, 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 click. Awesome. That's pretty cool. Alright. Oh. Okay. Alright. Yeah, we did that. Nice. Checkpoint. Good. It does illustrate you just implemented a target action pattern where one object sends a message to another object. The event is the user tapping the set default. The action is set default text label. The target view controller, the sender, process user input, and that's gonna be the same. At this point, users can reset the mule name, but you really want to use their own mule name. You'll set up the mule name label to whatever the user enters into the text field and taps return. When you work, you need some help from a text field delegate. A delegate is an object that acts on behalf or in coordination with another object. So, what is a delegate? A delegate is an object that acts on behalf or in coordination with another one. Keeps a reference to the other object the appropriate time, since... Okay, so let me write that down. What is a delegate? What is a delegate? Delegate is an object that acts on behalf of or in coordination with another object. A text field's delegate communicates with the text field while the user is editing the text. A text field's delegate communicates with the text field while the user is editing the text and knows when important events occur. Okay. The protocol that defines a text field's delegate is called the UI text field delegate. It's very common to make a view controller the delegate of the object that it manages. Oh man, this is too much information, dude. It's, well, fuck. You'll make the view controller the text field delegate. I have no idea what I'm doing right now. Whoa. Almost done. All right, let's go to the standard. Okay, let's read through the instructions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's go back to the normal one. Go to the controller, find the class line, add a comma, and we adopt a protocol. By adopting the UI text field delegate, you tell the compiler the view control class can act as a valid text field delegate. The view controller class can act as a valid text field delegate. All right, let's do that. Let's go back. Let's open this one, and then we are gonna add UI text field delegate. Added UI text field delegate to. All right, text field delegate. Then to set the view controller object. To set the view controller object as a delegate of its named text field property. So in the view controller, view did load. The template implementation includes a comment. Delete the comment. Below the super view did load handle. Okay, in all honesty, I'm not sure what I'm doing here, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So we're gonna get rid of this. We're gonna make a new comment, and the comment should read: handle the fields text field user input. Delegate callbacks. Name text field delegate is self. Self refers to the view controller class because it's referenced inside. You can add your own comments. Your view that load should now look like this. When a view controller instance is loaded, it sets itself as the delegate. The UI text field delegate per 8 optional methods. Just implement the ones you need. For now, you will need these methods. Text field should return. Text field did end editing. All right. When a user taps a text field, it becomes a first responder. Text field should return. Text field done editing, did end editing. As a result, begins editing a session, gets inserted. When a user wants to finish, needs to resign its first responder status because the text field will no longer be an active object. This is where you need to specify that the text field should resign its first responder when a user taps the button to end editing in the text field, which gets called when a user taps return or done. Alright, so to implement, we're almost there. So what does what does name text field delegate itself do? It allows the view controller to be a delegate for the mark UI text field delegate. you've added several into source code functions menu. Mark. Below that, you should return this. So add the following. Func text field should return. In this method, add the following code to resign the text field's first response status. Hide keyboard. Hide. Try typing the second line. You find code completion. Return true. This method returns a Boolean value that indicates whether the system should process the press of the return key. In this case, you always want to respond, so return true. The second is okay, so we basically like we make the view controller like a delegate of the text field. Now we can implement some of the functions of the text field. Alright. Text field and editing, read information and do something with it. Yeah. Alright, so in viewController.swift, just after text field should return, add the following method. Text field did end editing. And then we want to, it calls it when it's done editing. Text field.text. There's a meal name label. That's all you need to do. Checkpoint. Alright, let's run it. Checkpoint, baby. Build succeeded. And now we get the slowest iPhone ever. But let's see whether it works or not. Let's hope it does. Alright, why is building so slow? I'm gonna check it out. So, why is building Xcode so slow? Is this a new thing? Front? Hmm? Alright, we here. Alright, so I can click, I can type here, and then I should, if I return, let's go hardware. That's pretty neat. Oh. What happens when we make it too long? Oh! My screen is going wild. Awesome. That's super cool. In this lesson, you use the assistant editor to add outlets and actions to your source code. You also added code to update the user interface as the user interacts with the controls. This project is relatively simple, single scene. Awesome. Alright, that concludes episode number 2 actually. So finished what did we do this lesson? We added outlets and actions. We added outlets, added actions. We connected the UI as a storyboard view controller. We processed user input. We made a class confirm to a protocol, delegation pattern, target action pattern. Oh man, so much stuff. So yeah, we connected UI elements to code. We processed some user input. Pretty cool. Cool stuff. Alright, thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna take a quick break again and see you in part 3.